Hello Internet, and welcome to my review for Fairy Tail episode 308. When we last left off, we had a frustratingly disappointing episode with the culmination of the clash with E.N.D as Juvia seemingly killed herself in order to make Gray not kill himself, and Gray also did the same thing, leading E.N.D to dispel the ice lock and go on with his life. But that did not end up happening because Juvia seemingly gave her life to give Gray some blood to survive, but Wendy got there just in time. But Gray does not know that. He thinks that that Juvia is dead. And so he went and beat up E.N.D. All of this mired by just garbage animation and just not being very well done at all. Some poor camera choices, everything was just not coming together, last week. This week, though, is a lot better. And a lot of that is for its large focus on the consistently best-written member of the 12, Brandish Mew. And we see her conflicting allegiances once again at the start of 308. Because we see, she reverts the tumor to its original size, the anti-ether nano tumor. We learn more about that by the episode's end. But she does that instead of, as Demaria notes, when she arrives on the battlefield, she could have just made all of Natsu's innards expand until he explodes. And so what we see there is that she is, at the very least, offering them a way out. Demaria believes that she was planning on losing, and I think that's also a pretty safe read of Brandish's motives. My initial reaction was that she was just giving them the option to just run away. You don't have to do this. You can leave at any time, and that even if in the middle of their fight, if Lucy had said, "Fine, we're leaving," Brandish would not have stopped her. But anyway, then we have the Brandish versus Lucy fight, which is by and large our best fight in weeks. It's been a while since we've had animation even this good. It's got Lucy in all her glory, effortlessly switching in and out of her Star Dress form to use, Cancer and Scorpio, and even Aquarius' powers all in tandem. It's got Lucy desperately not wanting to have this fight, but having to defend herself regardless because Brandish sure at least seems to. Brandish also does not really want to do this, but she sees her ever-growing affection for Natsu and Lucy getting in the way of her loyalty to Zeref. And it's got good animation, at least by modern fairy tale standards. This is no Demon Slayer. Don't worry, that review will be coming out for the past 2 episodes, probably tomorrow or Wednesday. But the animation it has, we get to see Brandish's fist move around Lucy instead of having it be here and then all of a sudden she's cut and then all of a sudden she's breaking free. That's far more than the E.N.D fight ever dreamed of giving us. But now Demaria is here. Immediately she sees through Brandish's act of fighting Lucy, and just cuts her down. And this scene is a really smart instance where Fairy Tail's choppy animation and its barely animating things works really, really well. Because Demaria, remember that Natsu and Lucy don't know about Demaria's powers, for one thing. And so we see all of this through their perspective, where Demaria is just popping in and out of places. She wasn't there, and then all of a sudden, she's there, and where'd that come from? And so, a season that is not a big fan of animating movement, it's really good when you have a character who does not move, seemingly, and is just warping around places. So yeah, that's some good shit, especially the moment where we see, the focus is on Lucy's head, and then everything shifts. It doesn't look like it shifts. It looks like the background has just changed, and we realize that Demaria has, pinned Lucy to the ground. That's a really good shot. And it doesn't need to be too animated, because Demaria is not that animated to Lucy. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the guild hall, E.N.D's defeat has given Mavis a chance to throw up an illusion of herself and escape Irene. That does lead to a pretty big question, though, of why she uses the Zeref illusion at all, as all that seems to do is just alert Zeref to the fact that Mavis's illusions are back in play. It would have been much smarter to just leave the illusion there and then just sneak off, and maybe she would have probably noticed eventually that Mavis wasn't there, but it would have taken her longer, other than Zeref coming in and saying, "Hey, that's not me, Irene, what's going on here?" After that, Mest, I think, tries to redeem himself from his August fuck-up, but that won't work because he stopped what might have been the only possible small chance for peace in this war. But yeah, Mest comes and gets Mavis out of the vicinity of the guild hall, so they're not right next to Zareth. Meanwhile, back on the battlefield, Gajeel shows up just in time to save Jet and Droy. And really, this is just there so that we can have our big Gajeel and Levy reunion, which is good. That was a very good scene to have. I highly approve as a big GaLe shipper. But yeah, even their reunion seems kind of short. We get the callback to Gajeel's promises to arrest her in the guild hall. But beyond that, it doesn't really do all that much besides it being nice for them to be back together. But anyway, right after that, Mavis remembers Zara, and Zara fades away for good this time. And that's all of the other things to talk about. Let's get right back to our main focus. Because meanwhile, Demaria has Natsu and Lucy captured, tied up with Sealstone. Right as Porliusica tells Brandish that she's realized the tumor was not anti-ether nano at all, but something more demonic, as she tells Lucy later on. All we know about it by this point is that it's caused E.N.D to manifest. Given that Natsu and demons, they don't directly say that, but it's pretty obvious with, Demaria says the only person who could have moved through her time was E.N.D, and the fact that if you think of Demon and Natsu, it's gotta be E.N.D. The details of that will come out, in the ensuing episodes, but anyway. Before E.N.D is even awakened, Demaria and Lucy have this tense little insult off, leading Demaria to, threaten to gouge out her eyes. But, as the knife is coming down, we have this sudden cut, and we get this really effective sequence of Lucy waking up. The splattered blood over her eyes was a really nice touch, by the way. Finding she still has her eyes, for one thing. Her ropes are cut, Natsu is missing, and Demaria is decimated and rambling about a monster moving through her time. The little, time world that she creates when she's doing her magic. That's when Porliusica, Ever, and Brandish, who is still alive, because Porliusica found her. Everyone keeps finding people right before they die in these past couple episodes, but whatever. That's a much smaller thing than the Juvia one. And that's when Porliusica tells Lucy about everything, and then we end the episode on another great sequence of we see the devastation that E.N.D has left in his wake. Flames over the landscape and over the soldiers. He's just mindlessly destroying everything before he runs into Gray. And that's what the episode ends with, Gray, who now knows what Natsu is, and still seems to want to get rid of E.N.D. Maybe he's probably just he's not exactly thinking clearly, he's just found out Juvia is dead, and that his best friend is who his father was trying to kill for so many years. Natsu's not in his right mind either, but that'll be coming next week. Before next week comes, though, I do want to talk about what this season has been doing with Natsu and Gray. Because it's kind of been setting up this weird, destined clash between them. First in the Avatar arc, where we thought that Gray had turned evil for a second, which is interesting that it started in the Avatar arc, because that arc came out in the manga. It started in the manga in January 2015, which is 2 months after Naruto ended. This is important, because all of a sudden, Gray and Natsu are kind of pigeonholed into this weird Naruto-Sasuke dynamic in order to have that kind of, ultimate clash of friends/rivals. Which doesn't work. Because, they don't have that relationship at all. They're shonen rivals to be sure, but Naruto and Sasuke are a very particular type of shonen rival, and that both of their arcs, over the course of many years, lead them to have to fight each other. And to, Sasuke at least tries to kill Naruto, and Naruto doesn't want that to happen, yada yada yada, this is not a Naruto video. But that kind of, being on opposite sides of a conflict doesn't really map onto Natsu and Gray at all, who for all their fighting have always had each other's back through the years. You know, I was thinking about it, and they don't really have a Naruto-Sasuke dynamic. They have more of a Zoro-Sanji dynamic. Especially potent, because I've been reading the Thriller Bark arc, and no one fucking told me how great that arc was. So first of all, I'm mad. But I'm at the very end, where Kuma shows up and like decimating the Straw Hats and all, and he's about to kill Luffy, and Zoro and Sanji have this fight to have Kuma kill them instead. That's more of a Natsu Gray thing. That's a dynamic that maps more onto Natsu and Gray, more than it does more than Naruto and Sasuke one does. So it's really weird. There's all this. I remember in the manga, all like the little blurbs at the end of chapters, like, oh, this is some kind of fated match, when like it's really not. It's just a weird thing. But you know what? That's a problem for next week, because this episode is by and large a great one. You know, Brandish continues to be the best written member of the 12, so an episode that so heavily focuses on Brandish is always welcome in my book. Also, the animation has taken a welcome step up from the nadir of the past 2 episodes, so the Lucy-Brandish fight flows really nicely. All in all, this is a really good episode, even if it leads into a fight that just doesn't quite feel right. Next time, Natsu and Gray clash while Makarov takes a stand. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the episode and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!